Hello, hello, hello. Okay, so I helped make a movie once in Knoxville, Tennessee. Let's see, it was 1990, early 90s, 95, 94. I'm trying to use my child's birth year as a point in reference. If he was born in 91, let's age myself. I was just about to turn 20, so I was 19, and that was 1991. You do the math. I'm 52. I'll be 53. I was born in 71. Okay, so that's not the point. The point is, I helped make a movie. And so, what was that movie? It was called Box of Moonlight. And the movie was about a gentleman, John Turturro, a famous actor, who was a conservative, strict, structured father, not abusive, just very structured. And he goes on a business trip. Things take a real wild left turn, and he interacts with a young man known as the Kid, and the Kid takes him on a growth journey. And the actor John Turturro, I can't remember the name of the actor in the movie, his movie name. So apologize for that. But John Turturro, the actors, whatever, he has a revelation and he grows and blooms. But his journey to get there is actually really interesting and fun. It was a lovely script, but the movie was called Box of Moonlight, and it still is. The movie is called Box of Moonlight. So I have a photography studio in Maryville, Tennessee, just outside of Knoxville, Tennessee, on your way to the Smoky Mountains, to Pigeon Forge, on the quieter side of the Smokies, going through Walland, up in Blount County. And so if you know anything about that area, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And you can Google all those names and it'll pop right up. So I had a photography studio, and I had a dark room where we developed film. And this is back in the day, and it was handicap accessible. I had two different dark rooms. The studio was painted half black, half white, with the cardboard edges so that it was all, and a parachute. It was really cool to get up. And the gallery was in the front, and I primarily got hired to photograph weddings. And I did some like Fraternal Order of Police Christmas party. That's an interesting story. And so that was basically the type of photography that I was doing, mostly weddings, mostly. So they contacted me. I guess they were going through the phone book at that time. You went through a phone book, and my company's name was Eggshell Photography, ESP. I know what you need. I've always smoked cannabis, and so they called me, and they said, what would you charge to do some photography work and some creations of photographs for the set, for the backdrop, for in the house, on the walls, portraits and stuff of people. And I was like, I'd do it for my name in the credits, twice as big as everyone else's at the very end. Okay. Didn't even think you got it ever again. So I do location photography shots. I get friends of mine to come into the studio. I photograph them. I create family portraits. I superimpose the actors and actresses' faces onto the bodies. So if you watch the movie Box of Moonlight, there's a portrait. They cut most of it out, but in the editing, there's a few scenes where the pictures are in there. So on the wall, it's a terrible. It was so before any kind of computer programs and stuff, and I was working like really out of my league. But anyway, they took the pictures and they used them anyway. This is just a blue backdrop, like some old Olin Mills day off kind of thing. Fill-in photographer came by and took your portraits. So I used to work for American Studios and Olin Mills as a traveling photographer to Walmart's and as a relief photographer. But that's another story on another day. Or it's a story that happened today. Bloop. So, movie, Box of Moonlight, John Turturro, photographer. I photographed my friends in the studio and put the actors' faces on the bodies and then delivered the photographs. And so in the movie, you can see next to the phone on the little end table, because I've watched the movie a couple times looking. There's a portrait. That's mine. I did that. And there's a few in the house. So it was kind of cool. So I didn't see this for years. So anyway, I did the photography, I did all the work, and then I forgot about it. This is years later, like 3-4 years later, 2 years later. I don't know how long this takes. I get a phone call from my mother, and she stayed at my grandmother's house at this point, and she says, "Did you make a movie?" I was like, "Yeah, I did." She said, "How come you never told us about it?" I was like, "I don't know. It was a thing I did. I was going to school, learning how to be taxes for H&R Block, and I was trying to run a photography studio, and all kinds of crazy stuff was going on. And I was getting divorced, and like a single mom. There's like a lot going on. So I didn't know. I wasn't real close to everybody at that point. So anyway, it doesn't matter why. But so my mom calls me, and she's like, "Make a movie?" Yes. She said, "Well, I was awake at 2 in the morning, couldn't sleep, and I'm starting to watch this movie, and I noticed that she noticed that all of the shots looked familiar." And so the movie was filmed all around Knoxville, Tennessee, and Knox counties. When my mother came over from Ireland when she was 13, she came from Ireland. I'm half Irish, half Indian. My father came over from India. My mother came over from Ireland. And my mother came over when she was 13, and they went to Knoxville, Tennessee. So she knew the area well. I mean, this was like years and years and years, decades. So she watched the movie to watch the credits to see where it was filmed. And then she's reading the credits, and my name pops up. It's like, what the heck? So she wakes my grandmother up because the movie's going to play again. So she wakes my grandmother up. So my grandma is up at 4 in the morning with my mom, watching late night movies, eating popcorn. Like, this is awesome, actually, in itself. And I love that memory. It just sort of, I wasn't there, but I could see it. And I know where they were and what they were doing. And it probably involved a cocktail and laughter, honestly. And so, nice. I don't have a lot of positive memories. And so when they crawl in, it's so beautiful. So, my grandmother and my mom watching this movie, middle of the night. And so I get a phone call, 6 in the morning. And they're like, "We saw your name in the credits," and da-da-da-da. I was like, that is so cool. If I had told them about it, I'm not sure they would have believed me or listened or whatever, or put it in a memory. But the way they found out about it was just so cool. And so that was a really neat experience that I had. And I helped make a movie. The name of the movie is called A Box of Moonlight. And I'd never seen it on TV or anything. It was on TV a couple times, apparently enough. And you can buy it. And I've owned it. I've ordered it offline, and I've told people, my friends, about it and showed them the movie. Doggone, it got stolen like 3 or 4 times. So I got really heartbroken about it, and I didn't buy it anymore. But yeah, I helped make the movie, and it's not good enough of a movie. There's no movie you should steal. So anyway, that thing. That is the story about the time I helped make a movie, Box of Moonlight.